Imagine this. You land in Tokyo, and it's not just a normal arrival.
Right.
You're hit by this wall of sound, thousands of fans cheering. And you haven't been there in 8 years.
Wait years.
That was the scene for Johnny Depp, and it's really the perfect place to start our deep dive today. We're talking about a very intentional, multifaceted restructuring of his career. Some sources are even calling it a renaissance.
And we've gone through a whole stack of material here, news highlights, articles, reports on fan engagement, and I think crucially, his moves behind the camera.
Right.
So our mission for you is to really peel back the layers and get to the core strategy behind this comeback. Because it's so much more than just signing on for a new movie.
It's way more nuanced.
It is. It's about understanding how he's deliberately moving from, being the hired talent to becoming a creative force in his own right as a producer, an artist.
All while managing his public narrative after all the controversy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack this because, as you said, the foundation for all this wasn't really built in Hollywood.
No.
It was built internationally with that emotional connection.
The global stage is, I think, absolutely paramount here. You mentioned Tokyo. That return to Japan for the Tokyo Comic-Con, that was probably his biggest international appearance in almost a decade.
And the sources really hammer home that 8-year gap. In the celebrity world, that is, an eternity.
It really is.
And the reaction was just immediate, overwhelming. We saw reports that he was, and I'm quoting, feeling overwhelmingly touched after greeting thousands of fans.
Wow.
And they were there to hear about his new film work, his graphic novel. This wasn't just a simple meet and greet. It felt like an emotional validation from a really loyal global fan base.
A fan base that stuck by him.
Stuck by him through everything. And that leads to a critical point, right?
Yeah.
This trip wasn't just about his film projects.
Not at all. It was a multi-platform launch, really.
You're talking about the art.
Yeah.
It seems so central to his new identity now.
Exactly. While he was in Tokyo, a huge focus was on his art exhibit titled A Bunch of Stuff.
I love that title.
It's great, isn't it? It's running there through May 6th. And for you, the listener, the key thing to grasp here is the function of this art.
It's not just a hobby.
No, it's a calculated branding move. Think about it. It's high-value, direct-to-consumer revenue. It lets him connect with fans and sell a product completely outside the Hollywood system that, recently turned its back on him.
So the art show basically establishes his value as a creator who can stand on his own 2 feet. Someone who doesn't need the Hollywood machine to survive. It reframes him as, an artist first, whose work goes beyond just an acting role.
But autonomy is the key. By showing his art, he's basically saying, my creativity is valuable, whether a studio greenlights my film or not. And that creates immense leverage.
Right. And leveraging that artistic freedom is what leads us right into the next part of this story.
The strategic career reset.
The move into development, production, and real industry power.
And if you look at the trajectory, this is not a passive thing. He's not just sitting by the phone waiting for a call.
Oh.
Sources say he really understands the assignment. He's aggressively angling for a fundamental career shift. He's taking the wheel.
Shifting from talent to gatekeepers.
Precisely.
So let's look at the actual projects that show this happening. He hasn't stopped acting, obviously.
Oh, not at all. There's a big traditional film coming up, Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol.
Okay.
And sources have that release date as November 13th, 2026. So that shows he's still in the commercial game.
It gives people a date. Something to look forward to. Keeps him visible.
Yep. But the more telling project, I think, when you're trying to figure out his artistic priorities
Is the adaptation.
We know he's working on a film version of a pretty challenging classic novel. It's a masterpiece, apparently 58 years old.
And we don't have the title.
We don't have the title, no, but the type of project is what's important.
Yeah.
The fact that he's going for serious literature, something with that kind of weight.
Instead of, say, another blockbuster or generic thriller.
Exactly. It signals a commitment to more intellectual, challenging work.
That's a vital distinction. So, one project for commercial viability, the other for artistic legitimacy. But how does he make sure these films get made the way he envisions?
And that's where the big structural shift comes in.
The move behind the camera.
It's the single most impactful decision he's made. He's confirmed a new role with a producer tag. And this is not just a vanity credit. This is about control.
So how significant is that, really, that producer tag in today's Hollywood? Does it actually give him the power he was lacking?
It's transformative. It lets him shape the story from the very beginning, control the green light, manage the whole creative pipeline. and, crucially, influence the final cut.
Ah, the final cut.
I mean, when his career was at its lowest, he had to rely on others to take a chance on him. Now, as a producer, he is the chance.
He makes the decisions.
He's insulating himself from outside judgment. He decides what stories get told. It's the ultimate act of taking his narrative back.
It's a huge step, positioning himself as an industry player, not just a performer. And if we're talking about power and leverage, well, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, the legacy role that Disney is still talking about.
Pirates of the Caribbean. What's so fascinating is that even with this pivot into producing serious artistic films, the Jack Sparrow buzz just won't die.
It won't.
Sources are confirming there are still multiple scripts in development for a new movie.
And the biggest bargaining chip for him is that Disney has publicly said they have not ruled out bringing him back.
That is massive.
It keeps that huge financial door wide open. It gives him incredible negotiating power while he develops his own, passion projects.
It serves two purposes, really. First, like you said, it's a giant financial safety net. Second, just the conversation around it keeps his name in the mega franchise world, even while he's focused on these smaller producer-led films. It's a masterclass in strategic ambiguity.
It really is. And this whole shift in his work, the art, the producing, the calculated international appearances, it all points to a bigger philosophical shift. Let's get into how he's presenting himself now, his public persona, what he's actually saying about fame.
This is where it all ties together. He's not just changing his job, he's publicly explaining a new perspective. There was a recent quote of the day he shared that really captured it.
What was it?
He said, "Everybody would love to be themselves, but they can't because they must." That last part was blank.
Wow, that's striking. It sort of admits there's a conflict between being authentic and the demands of being famous.
Yeah.
It suggests that Hollywood success requires a performance, even off screen. And that speaks directly to the kind of defiant approach he's always had to his career.
It really does. It connects directly to his stated philosophy. He's said many times that he never chased fame. He chased meaningful artistic work.
And the fame was just a byproduct.
The fame was the byproduct, not the goal. And for you listening, that philosophical point is key to understanding his current choices. That meaningful work like adapting that classic novel, that's the priority now.
And the producer role ensures he can keep that focus no matter what the industry pressure is.
Exactly.
And when you look at his reflections on the most difficult part of his career, the legal battles, his public stance is just as strategic.
It is. The sources that report on his reflections really emphasize a message of resilience, of growth. He has said publicly that he has no regrets.
Which is a very powerful stance to take.
It's vital. By framing it as growth, he's basically closing the door on that chapter. He's refusing to let it define his whole legacy, and he's showing he can survive and pivot. It's a very conscious professional strategy to just move forward.
And that sense of responsibility, that connection to his community, was also highlighted by something he did online recently, which felt very humanizing.
You mean the scam warning?
Yes, the scam warning.
Yeah, that was a perfect example of community building. In this age of, digital impersonators, he used his platform to issue a really clear warning. He stressed that his team will never ask for money or personal info from fans online.
And that little act of protection, it doesn't just humanize him. It reinforces the loyalty of that fan base that is so essential to this whole renaissance.
It is. It's responsible celebrity behavior. It turns what can be a transactional star-fan relationship into one based on, trust.
And that trust is necessary for a career that really relies on public goodwill.
Totally.
Now, speaking of his public image, we should probably briefly touch on the buzz around his private life. It's always there.
Right. It's always part of the ecosystem. There have been some reports in various outlets about rumored meetups with Angelina Jolie.
Sparking romance rumors.
Sparking romance rumors, yes. But it is so important to be clear here. These reports are based only on unnamed sources.
And they remain completely unconfirmed facts.
Exactly. They're just part of the daily chatter. They don't represent the concrete artistic career steps that we're focusing on here.
That is the core mandate. So let's try to synthesize this whole deep dive for you, the learner. We've looked at the stack of sources detailing this strategic pivot.
And we've seen a move that's defined by professional autonomy, a huge strategic shift into producing, which gives him maximum control.
And that's balanced by his commitment to these high-profile independent art projects like the Tokyo exhibit.
Which creates economic and artistic options for him completely outside the studio system.
And maybe most powerfully, There's that deliberate emotional reconnection with his global fan base. That overwhelming trip to Japan really sums it all up.
It does.
His renaissance isn't about waiting for someone to give him a role. It's about him commanding his own assignment.
It's a powerful position to be in. He's successfully diversified his creative portfolio, and he's regained leverage in the industry. He genuinely has a choice now for what comes next.
And that brings us to our final thought for you to consider. Given this new power as a producer, and his stated focus on meaningful artistic work, like that classic novel adaptation, where does he choose to go from here? What's the ultimate play? Will his next big move be a full return to the mega franchise world, embracing a potential comeback as Captain Jack Sparrow? Or will he double down on these smaller, challenging producer-led projects where his artistic vision remains completely untouched?
Which direction will define the legacy of this new era for him?